But I will say their young quarterback, the 49ers. I'm pulling up his name because I'm blanking right now. This oh yeah, because he was Mr. Irrelevant. It's the first time Brock Purdy, right? It's the first
Yeah.
time Mr. Irrelevant has ever started a game, I think, in the NFL. Is that I think that's true. Uh, but he's probably picked up in your league already. But if he's not, by some chance, you go spend all of the fab you have left just because you never know. I mean, it's the
I
end of
feel
the
like that's
season.
every person that I'm ever gonna say to pick them up. It's like they're probably picked up in your league most of the time because it's like you have to go deep to find players that like are just sitting on your waiver wire. Besides receivers, there's some receivers out there that you can find, but
Yeah. And
outside of
honestly, just
receivers, there's
because we're
really
getting into
nothing out
that right now and we've talked about it a little bit, like what do you have anybody off the top of your head um or just a mindset as far as like this late in the season to picking up players off the waiver wire?
That's the thing. I have kind of like two answers here. One, like if for whatever reason you're competing and you need someone off the waivers, which is would be pretty hard to believe, your team should be pretty set at this point. But if you do need someone for whatever reason, like you have Debo, I think Nelson Aguilar is someone you could look at. He's only owned in 4% of leagues, and Jacoby Myers is out, so he's definitely going to get more target shares. I know you probably think that's a homer answer with the Eagles, but he's going to get the targets. He is a deep ball threat. If he could get a 40-yard touchdown out there and get you some points. So I think he's definitely someone to look at, and he definitely could be available on your waiver wire. So I think he's someone to look at if you are short term right now. Someone who I think that could be available, and he's only owned in 5% of league, which is unbelievable to me. He's owned in our league, but next year is going to have a huge impact. Is Calvin Ridley? If he's not owned, you should probably get him. Like he's going to be on the Jaguars, which I know isn't a great spot for receivers, but if he goes there, I mean, he was elite, and everything says that he's going to be ready to go. So I think Calvin Ridley, someone you can look at. Um, at quarterback wise,
How
Desmond
much
Ritter,
you said
he's
he's
getting his
only
first
owned
start.
in 85% of the leagues?
5%, Calvin Ridley.
Unbelievable.
According to Sleeper, I don't, all my stats here is according to Sleeper, which I find is just unreal, which it could also be going off standard league. But either way, Calvin Ridley, if he's available, pick him up. And then a quarterback wise, Desmond Ritter for the Falcons. He's getting his first start.
Yeah, Desmond Ritter. Yeah. I guess he was going to get his start anyways, but they're sending Marcus Mariota to the. He's another one that's going to the injured list and injured reserve. So, yeah. For me, like we already briefly mentioned this, any handcuff specifically at the running back position, you need to pick up any backup. And I'm going to give the Browns as an even deeper example. And so some of this is going to be stashed for the future, but obviously Nick Chubb's their guy. Kareem Hunt is actually, starts for a lot of teams in Dynasty just because it's kind of a little bit of a two-headed attack there. He can be a deep flex option, but I picked up Jerome Ford. Um, First of all, um, obviously this is a future play for sure. So like he has not gotten many offensive snaps at all, but he did really well in college. He played for Alabama for 2 seasons and then for Cincinnati for 2 seasons. He rushed for averaged over 6 yards a carry. I think that their running back situation is going to look a little bit different next season. Kareem Hunt has been asking for a trade. We thought he was going to get traded before the season. Then at the deadline, I think that trade is going to come. Like when you hear those rumors, I personally feel like he's going to get traded at some point. And then Dearness Johnson's a free agent in the offseason as well. For Jerome Ford, it's really more like he's going to get some more opportunity next year. It's just what is that gonna like? What is he gonna look like with those opportunities? And obviously, Nick Chubb is the starter there for a long time, but you never know for a guy what his situation might look like a few years down the road. Again, for a rebuilding team, another big pickup that I think I got this year. I'm probably going to say this name wrong. Chigozium Okonkwo. I think he's. I think he's. I want to know where he's from. I think he's in like 85% of the leagues. So like that isn't like he's out there still in some leagues. and he's a rookie tight end
That was a
drafted in the
great
fourth
attempt at
round,
the
and
name.
he just he didn't get drafted in a lot of dynasty leagues. But again, like now, like we said before, a lot of these guys are going to be picked up already. But if he's out there, get him. Get any backup running backs. I say like get anybody on the Jets right now because that situation is pretty fluid. Like Zonovan Knight seems like he's become the guy now with Brees Hall being
Yeah,
injured.
if he's available, get it. Like he should be owned everywhere. He's
For sure.
on
Because
a
that's a
team
guy who's
already.
like putting up good numbers. So like, I mean, that might be a two-headed attack next year. He might find himself on another team. Like who knows what goes down, but like he could potentially, start on some teams in the NFL. So yeah, like I said, any handcuff. This is again if you're in a deep league and you just want a wide receiver to potentially help you in case of injuries. Richie James, he's replacing Wendell Robinson. He's nothing special for the future, really, but yeah, I mean, biggest thing for me, always be looking quarterbacks, like even backup quarterbacks in the super flex are now like so valuable because there's like three backups that might be starting next week, and in a super flex, like if you need someone to spot start for you as a QB2, like pick them up and go get them. Like I don't want to say be stashing like five backup QBs, but that you might want to stash one or two that you think um maybe it was a QB battle in camp and like you want to stash him for the season just in case things change, something like that, or someone who's injury prone at the quarterback position. So yeah, that's
You
that's my thoughts on the waiver wire pickups. Do you have anyone like
you
it's
want a deep sleeper that I'm pretty sure they're available in our league, which
all right? Well, I'm
if
gonna go
that's
pick
something that
them up right after you say this then.
I was gonna say you could. Speaking of handcuffs, it's like a deep handcuff here. I'm gonna say this name wrong. Keen Nguangwu. I apologize in
All
advance.
the weird names. All right.
Minnesota's running back. Him and Ty Chandler. Ty Chandler's on IR, but Keen, if Madison leaves after in this offseason when he's a free agent, he's a running back who steps in. He's leading the NFL in kickoff return yards right now.
Mm.
And he's owned in 0% of leagues. According to Sleeper, I don't know the metric that Sleeper's taking, but I'm just
That might be
that's what I
starting,
just put
and
it
that
in.
might be the starting percentage though.
It says rostered.
Mm.
It says rostered 0%, and then the starting number was also 0 right next to it.
Yeah,
Um,
I love
but either way,
Madison,
he's
by the way.
available in our league.